Finding the gradient of a line. The gradient is a number that describes the slope of a line. Positive means the line rises when you move from left to right. So a positive gradient would go like this, from bottom left to top right. Negative means the line falls when you move from left to right. So a negative gradient would go from top left to bottom right. The higher the number, the more extreme the slope. So this line here would have a higher number representing the gradient than the second line. A horizontal line means there is no slope and therefore gradient would be 0. I'll come back to that very shortly. A vertical line means there is an impossible slope and therefore gradient is undefined or infinite. Again, we'll come back to that in a moment. Gradient is represented by the letter m. So we often write m equals and then a number when we're talking about gradient. To find the gradient of a line, we once again look at 2 points on that line and label them as x1, y1 and x2, y2. Gradient is always given by rise divided by run. So let's think about that. What we mean by rise is how far up or down it goes, and run means how far it goes across to the right. So if we have a line that goes across 2 units to the right, and it goes up by 4 units, like so, then the gradient is equal to the rise divided by the run, and that gives us 2. On the other hand, if it goes down, remember, run, always take that to the right. So let's say it goes across by 2 units, and it goes down by 6 units, then we think of this as being -6 going down. So it's -6 divided by 2, which is -3. That's why a horizontal line has a 0 gradient. If it goes directly horizontal, then there is no rise. The rise is 0. So rise is 0 divided by a run, which can be any number at all. 0 divided by 3, for example, is still 0. It's also why the vertical line is infinite, because a vertical line has no run. The run is 0, and therefore we have a 0 in the denominator. A really good way to think about gradient is it's what happens when the run is 1. If we have a gradient of 3, the line goes up by 3 units when it goes across by 1. This has a lot of uses in applications type questions on this going forwards into the later years, 10, 11 and 12. So, let's think back to the diagram that we had when we did distance. The horizontal distance between coordinate A, which is x1, y1, and coordinate B, which is x2, y2, is x2 minus x1, and the vertical distance is y2 minus y1. So the formula for the gradient is that m is equal to y2 minus y1, that's the rise, over x2 minus x1, which is the run. If two lines have the same gradient, then it can be said that they are parallel. Like railway lines, they will never meet.